What's up, inner tubes? It's us, Dose Incredibles Network. We are here. It is January the 12th, 2022.
Deuce.
Double deuce. 20. As long as I don't mind 2022, I don't want anything to do with 2020 as well.
Not 2020 part 2.
No, we don't need part 2, part due.
Part 2, 2020, the sequel.
Yeah, we don't need
it's
that.
It's like Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf, T-O-O.
Yeah, exactly.
2020, 20 T-O-O.
Yes, we don't want any Jason Bateman variants. We are cool with our Michael J. Fox version of COVID. Thank you very much. But I don't know about you, but I've been more at war with Cedar than COVID.
You're in
I'm in a
long-term program with Cedar.
Yeah, it's a long term.
Y'all been working the loop for a while, and now
we're coming up with different ways. Or just like we know each other's shorthands, but I definitely need the I don't have COVID shirt. A lot of similar, especially the Decepticon version of COVID. It has a lot of similar side effects or symptoms.
Yeah.
That at COVID, because it's all in the face.
Yeah.
It's like right in your face.
It's
sinus.
I think everyone's got it right now. I don't know. I don't know what the rules are about talking about it these days, but pretty sure someone next to you right now has it.
Yeah.
Not me, but someone else.
Wait, Cedar or COVID? In Austin, probably both.
Cedar and COVID.
Yeah, I don't know. What are we going to do? Make the algorithm unhappy? It doesn't like us anyway.
No, it hates us.
Doesn't like us any because you want to see our face. You need to see our face. Fuck your face, man. I don't want to show you my face.
No. Commit to the gimmick.
Yeah, figure this out.
I don't care what YouTube says. We're working this gimmick.
Yes, figure this out. Is it Spanish? Is it English? Stop. You're both right.
We should push it twice.
Verdad? See? Yeah, we know. So, but yeah, we got some stuff we want to talk about. We're going to talk about some, it's Weird Beer Wednesday, so we're definitely going to still talk about that. I think you have a lot to say about the Book of Boba Fett episode 3.
You have a lot to say.
I do too. It was interesting to say the least.
I didn't realize because I had to watch it twice, right? Because I was setting up for everything, and I kind of lost the thread, and it was over. Which also will relate to my comments later. But I went through it twice. I have thoughts. You have thoughts? What are your thoughts? What's your first
thoughts?
The Book of Boba Fett. This is a spoiler.
That's right. You're about to get spoiled. I don't know. It was like 3 a.m. I was in a cedar fog, but my first reaction was, huh. It was, huh.
Yeah. So, okay. So just a quick recap of the episode. So Boba Fett is like, he's the mob boss leader with a conscience.
Crime boss with a conscience.
Right.
Yes.
And he's trying to do the right thing. It's not very Tony Soprano-esque.
No, and I think they brought that to a head because the big question was, when did Boba Fett have this babyface turn to begin with? I mean, he was legendary for being basically almost looking like Darth Vader's right-hand man.
Yeah.
He was a heel. He was a straight-up heel. He
was the frozen in carbonite guy.
Yeah. I mean, he stole Han Solo's body, and he was going to send him to Jabba. So all of a sudden, when he came back during The Mandalorian, he beat the crap out of some stormtroopers, but someone was just like, now I'm in debt to you now. Now I'm a babyface, and we're going to be a tag team, and we're going to work the circuit, and we're going to be bigger than the Rock and Roll Express. You're going to be the one that sells, and I'm going to get the hot tag.
Well, the way they booked it, I thought was solid as far as The Mandalorian goes, because he did have a babyface turn in The Mandalorian, and it was fine. But then at the end, in the post-credit, you got him go kill Bib Fortuna and take the thrones. It's like, oh no, he's not a babyface. He's still a heel.
Yeah, exactly. But then he came back, and then he's just like, oh, but I'm kind of okay. Yeah. Should we kill the Gamorrean guards? Like, no, they work for me now. So, yeah. But then we saw in episode 2, he got once he won over the Tusken Raiders, he got the lizard up the nose was the gift, and he basically went on a vision quest. Fuck you, man. I ain't no Indian either. It's just some shit I made up in my head.
Did you see the size of that chicken?
But he was having some visions, and he went through, and I think that's when it was like, okay, that's when he had the babyface turn. But then you realize he's Boba Fett. he's for the working man. He's an underdog guy.
Yeah.
You know, in a weird way, his character became big without any kind of like Vince McMahon money push behind it. Right? I mean, he got big with hardly any lines and hardly any screen time. So I guess it makes sense in the real world, IRL, that he works for, he's for the underdogs.
I never would have gotten that indication. I mean, like I said, the way they worked him in Mandalorian was good. I thought it was fine. But I thought the payoff was the heel turn at the end. And now that we've got this Boba Fett who wants to be a crime boss for sure, but also for the people. I don't know. I just don't get it.
He's a crime boss with a heart.
He's a crime boss with a heart of gold.
Yeah, and I know, how do you say her name? Ming Yao character, Fennec.
Ming-Na Wen?
Fennec, yeah.
Ming-Na?
When he's like, Fennec, alive. I just like the way he delivered that line, but she wants to go. She wants to see full heel Boba.
So is the through line of this show going to be that he takes a real heel turn at the end?
I think it's going to have to lead to that, right?
Otherwise, I just don't get where this is going at this point. Yeah.
I think everyone was, this episode had some very specific things that need to be called out. And when I'm talking about episode 3, if you haven't seen it, pause right here, go watch it, come back. Because like you said it earlier, this was the most Robert Rodriguez-like episode here.
Yes.
And to me, the two things that stood out to me, and I also, before we go, shout out to Den of Nerds Live and Star Wars Theory Live. Their watch-alongs. If you're up at 2 a.m., highly suggest that you watch with them. It's a fun experience. I actually like to listen to when Josh calls in and talks to Theory, and then I'll go back and watch on his video to watch both sides of the conversation, even though it's the same exact conversation. But they pick up on a lot of stuff, and they have a lot of people. I mean, it's like 3,000 people are in there, and you catch a lot of stuff that you miss. Like, apparently there was a painting in Jabba's palace that had Boba Fett's picture in it, and I was like, really? I have to go back and watch that.
No, I didn't see that.
No, I didn't watch it either. Anyway, but yeah, they were catching some stuff. And there were some mixed reactions on this for sure. But the one thing that really stood out to me, well, two things. The Mean Motor Scooter Gang. The Mean Motor Scooter Gang was just like, they were like a mix between like the Power Rangers, and they each had these really shiny bikes that looked like more like mopeds. All of different colors, all tricked out with like mirrors, and we find out later that they don't go very fast either.
So something went horribly wrong there. Look, I mean, it's fine. It's a choice. But it just seemed really jarring to have these beautifully. You've never seen anything in Star Wars that color,
shiny,
since the originals, I guess. And it just seemed way out of place. I dig the motorcycle gang, sure, and I thought the bionic arms and all that stuff, droid parts?
Oh yeah, they rebuilt their human parts with droid parts.
Cool twist. I like that.
I did like that.
But I just thought the motorcycles were just too bright. They looked like, if you were in a 50s McDonald's or something like that, you know?
Yeah. That is definitely. It had that moped, like you'd have that lifeless eyes guys that would stand in there and like really like hawking these bikes. But, and then, so they were supposed to be the heels, right? They're like, I got to go send a message. The guy who's basically hoarding all the, he's bullying the moisture farmers, which I think was Stephen Root, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. He's like, and he's in charge of all the water, but these punks, these hooligans, they're stealing my water. And then they're like, oh, he had a really thick accent, which I guess that was going back to the true essence of Star Wars, were the British accents. He's like, oh, mate, sorry, you should go see what he charges for the water. That's why we stole it. And then all of a sudden, Bo was like, oh, well, how much you charging for that? Oh, no, I'm going to charge this. You guys work for me now. And he just kind of took them under their wing, just like that. So basically, it's like he's putting his crew together. Yeah. But it's not super dynamic. It's a little obvious. No, I just didn't like those crew. I take that back. I liked the crew. I didn't like what they were riding. It just didn't work for me. It was a little too shiny. It was, and Robert Rodriguez is known for action scenes. Yeah. And these were like, it's like they were riding the carousel at the carnival, yeah, but not like the adult carousel, like the one for kids where you can like ride like a rocket. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Or Dumbo.
You're right, Dumbo, or something like that.
Yeah, because they weren't very fast either, and that chase wasn't. And which is because I like that the mayor's not his Diamo, but what's the number one Amayo, whatever term they use, that's his, like its number one guy. I like that character. He's really sleazy. I feel like he kind of works.
Yeah.
So that car chase came off as really awkward. That it was just like it was slow. The second thing that really came off awkward to me was something that happened that everybody was already psyched for, was when BK Black, how do you say, Kratantian, the Black Wookiee.
Yeah.
He's badass, and they're like, oh man, I can't wait to see. Like when I saw him, they call him BK. When I saw him, I was like, I had a Grogu moment, like a Baby Yoda moment, like, whoa, that guy, like I would instantly want like his action figure. I can't wait to see. This is like, okay, this has got to be the main event.
Yeah.
Boba Fett versus this guy. But we got it right away. He jumped him right out of his bacta tank. He opened it up, and the fight was good. I mean, he was like, when he was biting him, it was crunchy. And then like the motor scooter gang came in to help, and the Gamorrean guards came in to help, and it took everybody to take him down. But what was weird is Boba was fighting in his boxers.
Yeah.
He was fighting in his...
Did he get his spine snapped at some point?
It seemed like it did, right? Because he had him in a bear hug, and I swear I heard a crack. And I was like, oh man, he's going to beat him that easy. But of course he's going to beat him that easy because he's basically in that backed-up baby oil, in his boxers, so he can't even get him. So finally, the crew comes out, chases. He does a cool double spear, spears both of the Gamorrean guards down. They fall down the stairs. And they said this in Den of Nerds, so I'm totally stealing it. But then Boba comes down in this like embroidered robe. Like, did you know that the Jabba's palace comes with robe and slippers? He came down running in the robe like a dad trying to find out, like, what are you kids doing down here? Why didn't he throw on his armor? Shouldn't he have put on his armor?
Yeah. No, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, he came down in his robe.
I was honestly just kind of taken back by the action sequences you were talking about. When what was the name of the Black Wookiee?
Oh, Black Krishantian.
Black Krishantian.
Yeah.
Did you really enjoy that fight? I felt like the fight was super
dark.
It was just stilted. And I'm wondering, like, he was just kind of standing there punching people off of him. You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of camera movement, which I found strange, being that Rodriguez being such a acclaimed action director, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if there is... What we're seeing here is like the limitations of the
void, not the void. What do they call
the volume?
The volume.
The volume that they're using now. Is there certain limitations where you can't really move the camera traditionally as you were in a 360 kind of a set?
Oh, maybe you're right, because something seemed off about it. Like it seemed a little dark, and I wanted that fight to be. I wanted that moment to be Darth Maul. And I say this as most people hate Phantom Menace, but I loved all of them. The Disney trilogy. But anyway, I wanted that moment with Darth. Like, I wanted him to be right there. We're going to set up for an epic battle, and it seemed like it was a very enclosed battle.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I feel like you couldn't get the full...
There was not a lot of movement, and it just felt the same thing with the chase. Like, they couldn't do much with the chase.
No.
And I'm wondering why... I don't know. Why is this so slow? And if it doesn't work, why is it in here? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Was this the first time they attempted to do a chase through town in the volume?
Oh, maybe that's it. Maybe it literally was a technology. Because I was just, remember in Phantom Menace when he's like, now this is pod racing. I was like, no, this is not pod racing. Because it was the same planet. Well, you had the pod racing. Remember, you just felt like the rocks were coming at like that top speed, and now you just had this like slow chase. But we should preface this that I still enjoyed the episode. It's still Star Wars. It still felt like Star Wars, but there was a lot of stuff that came very dangerously close to taking me out of the moment. Like shiny scooters and embroidered robes, and then. They capture BK in the fake, in the whatchamacallit. Oh, why is my brain slipping? What's the name of the creature?
The Rancor.
The Rancor, yeah. They got him in the Rancor pit. And it's like, wouldn't you keep him? And they're like, no, we're going to give him back. And then like, you're free to go. And then it kind of gets into, it's like, wait, so technically if you spared his life, but you didn't save his life, is he now entitled to call a life debt? because we know Wookiees have life debts, right? They had that with Han Solo and Chewbacca. Since he spared his life.
Didn't say so.
Yeah, he just split. And they're
he
like,
just kind of ran away.
Yeah, he kind of and because the Hutts were like, never mind, you can have it. We're leaving.
Keep the Wookiee. We don't want it.
Yeah, here's a cool Rancor for you. We're splitting.
Here's a Rancor. And then who brings the Rancor? Now you know it's Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, exactly.
Freaking Danny Trejo.
Now
I'm glad Machete went to space.
Yes.
But
finally, Machete went to space.
Like, here's the thing. Everybody, there's been other stars, right? Or other cameos that have come through.
Yeah.
I guess, why not hide Danny Trejo? Like, I don't understand, you know what I mean? He is like iconic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That level and his appearance. I mean, excuse me, maybe like 20 years ago or something like that, you would have put him in and it would have been like, oh, it's that guy. But now he's Danny Trejo. He's a meme. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
He's more than just an act. He's an actor. He's reached that. So that just immediately breaks the reality right there.
Yeah.
You know?
He should have got a bigger.
Now,
push.
not that I think he shouldn't be in it, but put a fucking mask on him or whatever. Like, do the Star Wars thing that you normally do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like Jennifer Beals, right?
Exactly. Put a hat on.
She had a huge reaction, even though it wasn't 100% clear that it was her. Right, and it could be argued that Danny Trejo is more known currently than Jennifer Beals.
100%.
So, yeah, I do like that he is the Rancor training, and this is a little bit of a deep cut for anybody.
Put a fucking weird nose on him or something, right? Like a pig nose or whatever.
Yeah,
that's enough. You don't have to go overboard.
Yeah,
I'm sure you can do that digitally.
Yeah, and should Danny Trejo be insulted? It's like, shouldn't I put on some makeup or something?
No, you're from Planet Mexico.
From Planet Mexico.
But like, it's Robert, right? So it's like his friend. He just brought him on. It's cool. Of course, it's like his tradition, and that's fine. I just think he needed a gimmick. He needed something.
Yeah, I mean, you're on.
Give him the tube fucking head or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. And you're on Tatooine, which does seem to have like the most of all the exotic different species of humanoids out there that you would think that he would do, especially a Rancor trainer. But it did, like I said, it could be turned into be a more important role than we even expected, right? Because if you didn't watch the Bad Batch, you didn't realize, when, and I think they even called him just Rancor training. His character didn't even have a name. He's like, they're actually very emotional creatures, and they will imprint to the first human that they see. And they started giving this thing that we grew up watching in Return of the Jedi as something that we just thought was going to kill Luke Skywalker. They were kind of giving it a heart. And then I started liking it to like, oh, so they're trying to really push these Rancors as like pit bulls that like they're only as dangerous as the people who train them. Because hands down, they set up for it. Boba Fett is going to ride a Rancor, and we're going to see that. And it's like something that's straight out of Robot Chicken. Like, he's so badass. He's going to ride a Rancor like a horse.
Wait, does a Rancor walk on two legs? Hey, say what up to JJ. He's here.
JJ, what's up?
Does a Rancor walk on two legs or four legs?
I think he can do both.
That's going to look weird if he's just giving him a piggyback ride or something like that.
Just sitting on his shoulder. Right?
Here's another thing that I gotta put this theory out there. It's conspiracy land. Robert Rodriguez was booked to direct, and that's great for him. But what is Robert Rodriguez most known for? What is his call to fame?
Well, what we would say, and what I guess for mass marketing, people would say Spy Kids, right?
But how did he first?
We would know him from Desperado, right? Like low budget.
But what's Robert Rodriguez's gimmick? It's making low budget, fast turnaround indie stuff looked cooler than it is, right? He was the guy who did the $7,000 action movie and it got over huge, right? Then he did Desperado, which was also not huge budgeted. But anyway, then he became the guy who invented Spy Kids and had his own studio, his own green screen studio, right? He was doing all that stuff before. So I think that this show, I mean, consider we only heard about it last Christmas.
Yeah.
Right? Last Christmas was when we first heard about it. That's a year to turn around that show.
Right.
That's a fast turn for that. That's not a film even. That's like, 5 or 6 hours of TV. I don't even know how long it's going to be. But anyway, I feel like they booked Robert because he's the fast turnaround action guy, you know?
Yeah, no, that
and I
makes
think that
sense.
that's what they're trying to do here.
Yeah, that tracks. That totally tracks. That makes sense because it is a fast turnaround because it was like a year. And they got, I think he directed, well, he directed the first 3 episodes, clearly. I don't know if he's directing all of them.
Yeah.
But he did these first 3 for sure. So you might be right. And maybe we ran into the limitations.
I feel like that could be part of it. I don't know. Here's, you know, the motor scooters. Somebody should have popped a wheelie. That would have been good.
Yeah, that would have helped.
That would have helped a little.
Yeah, because it was kind of weird because it had a flat bottom, so I thought they were literally gonna squish them, like when it went on there. Star Wars Theory guys, last night when they were watching, they're like, why didn't they make it look more like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? They had that kind of look for a street gang rather than just like, teased out hairspray and.
I didn't mind the gang so much, but when they had the motorcycles, it's like that's too much.
Yeah, and we saw that
overcorrected way too much.
We saw the Anchorhead. We saw that badass gang. The Moisture Pirates or whatever they called them, the Sand Riders, right? They're the ones and they're the ones. R.I.P. to all the Tuscans. The Sand Riders are actually the ones that took them out. So we saw a badass bike gang. So. I don't know if you saw them on paper. Would you bet on the half kid, half droid versus the badass? What I think they actually said their name. They're the ones that were spray painting that logo.
I can't remember.
Yeah, but their name were anyway. They looked badass more. They look more so badass.
The motorcycles were just ridiculous.
Yeah,
like the more I think about it, it's just like they looked like a 50s car.
Yeah, it just didn't work. I mean, and plus you think of even Return of the Jedi. Was 1983 when they were riding those things on the forest moon of Endor. Those things were fast. At least they looked fast. You did the whole push forward. Well, I mean, Boba Fett, they were riding him when they were riding next to the speed train last week.
Yeah, but you got the dude. What was the name of the dude that was trying to escape? He's in the car acting like he's driving fast. He's like miming the whole thing, doing big turns like it's a huge deal, and he's literally going 10 miles an hour.
Honestly, I just couldn't tell because it was 3:00 in the morning, and I thought, man, I'm really tired. This theater's really getting because this seems like it's going really slow. That's a slow race. Like I feel like somebody could have ran up next to him and caught him.
Yeah,
but there was fun stuff in there too. I don't want it to make it seem like this is something that we're just really pointing out the stuff that didn't work. I did enjoy that protocol droid that just dropped the equivalent of a Star Wars F-bomb, right? Like he almost got ran over, and he's like "Voodoo," and like I was like, oh, he was cursing. That's kind of cool.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it needs a second viewing for sure, and I'm curious how the second viewing is going to go. Did you get emotional with the end of the Tuscans? We knew that the Tuscans had to end somehow because he wasn't with them when we caught up to current time when he went to get his armor back. Because it's still in the flashbacks, he's still not interested in getting his armor back. Right? Now we just got to the point where he was one of the Tuscans. He went to go collect money from the Pikes. The Pikes like, we can't really double pay. We're already paying the Sand Riders, and the Pikes were pretty much, you know what I mean? We can only pay one. You know what I mean? So he's basically saying whoever takes the other one out wins.
Yeah, but like here's the thing. They were just all killed off screen, and he just walks in and they're all dead.
Yeah, they were all gone.
That's to me, that sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks. It's like, what about that really cool, the one that was training him? The female?
Yeah.
It's like, why not? She doesn't get a death scene or anything like that. Like they're just all dead.
Well, supposedly she's still alive. That's the internet rumor right now that they're going by the Hollywood rule that if you did not see the death, they are not dead. And supposedly she is still alive. That the warrior's still like, yeah, I would have liked to seen a warrior death because as badass as that bike gang looked compared to the mean motor scooters, they were nothing compared to the Tusken Raiders. And I feel like the Tusken Raiders would have handed them their asses, so I would have liked to have seen that fight. So I'm not entirely sure what happened. So that was a little bit of a bummer that happened off screen. This one, again, this was probably out of all
Why
the
the fuck do those bikes look like Earth bikes? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That was definitely the embroidered robes and mean motor scooters. I don't get it. Like I feel like they look more like an accordion or something, or like I feel
they're
like
hipster. They're like hip. Wait, no, I guess hipsters is not even a thing. But it's like they're using these bikes ironically.
Yeah, I feel like if we would have watched the bike drive away, I was waiting for the Jetsons noise, and bubbles to come out of the tailpipe.
Jetson!
I think that's what I was expecting. So anyway, I'd like I said that's. Are you listening, Disney? That's right. You got to hear. We got things. Can I have? We have a thing here. Oh, will it work? Can I become a piece of bread and tell Disney how to make some bread?
I don't have it set up. I told you.
He turned it off.
Hold on. Yeah, because it fights everything.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know if it would have worked anyway. But Disney, yeah. Listen up.
Oh, it doesn't work with the mask. We're going to do a full bread episode coming up.
Yeah, full bread, as bread coming up.
Something with come up with a pun, something with carbs in the title.
Yes, carbs and how to make cash.
This will all make sense later.
Carbs. 1-800 Carbs for Kids. You don't hear, that's an up north thing. Do you hear Carbs for Kids here?
Cars for Kids?
1-800 Cars for Kids, that jingle that gets in everyone's head.
No.
Oh, yeah, 1-800 Cars for Kids.
Why Cars for Kids?
If you have an old car, you can give it to this place, and then they give kids money.
Growing up in the Northeast, did you have, like, little kids that drove cars?
No, I don't know.
Was that not, like, a thing? Because, like, down in the valley, like, kids are, like, 10 years old, they're driving a car.
They're already driving? No.
Yeah, like, driving, like, everywhere. I'm not talking, like, driving in the driveway. Like, go to the airport and pick up your aunt. It's true. It's like a thing. I wonder, is that just a valley thing?
That might have been that totally might just have been a valley thing for sure. But
JJ's from the valley. When did you start driving?
Oh yes, yeah, JJ. When did you get your? Well, no, I guess not when you got your license. When did you actually start driving? Yep, he can attest to this.
Anyway, Book of Boba Fett, fine. We're going to keep watching. It's
I mean, it's
but I want to give a positive spin, though, because I'm not just here to bury it, but, like, we're
12. JJ was 12 when he drove.
Oh, late bloomer. But, like, here's one thing that I think is different is we need to understand these, like, we were, for a while there, I mean, once like, if you average it somehow, we were getting, like, 2 hours of Star Wars every 10 years, basically.
Oh,
you know what
yeah.
I mean? And then for a while, the last 10 years, we got 2.5 hours of Star Wars every 3 years or something like that. Now we're getting like 8 hours of Star Wars a year.
Yeah.
It's a big jump. So there's going to have to be room for other stuff in there. Everything is not going to fit directly into canon, or what, not just canon, but maybe stylistically, they're going to have to take chances. They're going to have to change things up. They want to sell toys. Maybe kids will want a 50s motorbike. Probably not, but you're going to try some other stuff.
I would 100% get one IRL. Like, I don't want to see it in Star Wars, but I would ride one.
Yeah. It would have been crazy if they had leather jackets and stuff and greased back hair.
Do-dum, do-dum.
Switchblades, some sort of
like a comb.
Droid switchblade.
Did you have Sha Na Na down here, or was that another Central Islip only show?
No, I remember Sha Na Na when I was real young.
Yeah, okay.
With Bowser.
Yeah, with Bowser. That's what I was thinking. But yeah, no, we have to give it a positive spin. We're happy. I know it's going to be Disney. I saw a term going around, and I was like, damn, that's catchy, but I don't like it at the same time. They were calling Boba Fett Beta Fett, and I don't like it.
What does that mean?
Beta Fett, that he's just like, he's beta. He's not alpha like he used to be.
Oh, yeah. Well, the thing is, Disney is trying to turn them babyface so they can sell toys to kids, to little kids.
Right.
But why wouldn't they want, I guess, do little kids not want the bad guy? I don't know.
No, I mean, no little kids had any problems with him before, so I don't see why that would change.
Yeah, you choked on that missile.
Yeah. I'd like to get my hands on that missile. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, they're going to put a little bit of a Disney spin on it, but I still have 100% faith in Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and even Robert Rodriguez, because man, that episode, the Boba Fett episode from The Mandalorian was one of the best ones, and that got so much buzz, and he felt like at that episode almost like saved Star Wars after getting so much backlash from the Disney trilogy.
There is, I think there's some chatter on the internet about whether or not this is like sort of a last minute kind of thing, because they did this before new season of Mandalorian, which I feel like doesn't make sense, you know? So I wonder if this was some sort of last minute thrown together kind of thing. Like maybe they were going to, because they're still saying that there's like you heard all those rumors about Pedro Pascal having issues about wearing the mask and stuff like that.
I do remember that. Yeah,
which is wild because in this one he never wears a mask.
Yeah, he does.
Like he's maskless all the time. So it's like this is going on. So I don't know. I wonder if this may be suffering from a little bit like rushed into production kind of syndrome. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
And I think that they have a lot of freedom now with the way they do things with the volume, and they write things on the fly. And I was thinking this too. Their faces are covered a lot. So when you're in that sense, you can always rewrite the dialogue later. You know what I mean? You can add dialogue later, like whatever you want it to be. So you can like go faster, shoot them with the masks on, and cut around it. And who better to do that than Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. I'm also from the school that I am not going to really fully judge something until this one. You have to see all the episodes. You can't base it on one thing because we just came off the second episode, which everybody loved, and the first one was people were like, but the second one everybody loved. So you got to see the whole piece before we do it. We were just for fun.
It's fine. This is the fun part about weekly TV. We can dog one episode, we can bury one episode, we can put one over. That's it. That's how it goes. I mean, they're not all winners, and because we pay our subscription, we can give our opinions on the internet.
Yep, but we'll be there for all of them. It's definitely not channel changing heat at all. Like especially you're not going to. We waited a long time, especially some of us that have been waiting for this since 1983. The Patton Oswalt, was that not eerie? Did you see that whole thing? That his episode.
I mean, it's the only way it could have started.
Yeah, yeah. I guess.
I do get. Yeah,
but did you see it when he was talking and they showed it side by side?
No, I didn't see that one.
Oh wow! I mean, it was like eerie on how it's spot on it was. So they were wondering if Robert kind of did that as a nod, but it didn't go down exactly like that in the comics, but that comics are legends now. They're not canon. So, but I still enjoy it. I love Tamora Morrison. I love that it came back. I'm one of the few that loved the prequel trilogies always.
Everybody loves prequel trilogies now.
Now I feel like they do, but I was one of the ones that loved it back then. I remember somebody came in out so furious, like, yeah, that guy that looks so badass, the red guy, and it's just like, something, step on a bug, do something. You didn't do anything. And I was like, I like the subtleties. I like the hidden spirituality in it more so than just like you said. I'm not necessarily in Star Wars for the wars.
Now that you mention it, you mentioned the prequel trilogy. Those motorcycles are something out of the prequel trilogy.
Oh, 100%.
You think that was intentional? Or maybe that was their thought. They were like, yeah, these are left over from the prequels because they're vintage, classic kind of looking bikes.
Yeah, maybe that was their equivalent of like I got this old 50s Chevy that I fixed up. So it could have been that. Absolutely.
Maybe George Lucas was on set and just like giving notes. He's like, "What if the bikes were like 50s bikes?"
Right? Yeah. It's like I made this other movie. You may have seen it.
Put like flames on them and fenders.
Maybe that's the nod to American Graffiti. I don't know. Yeah, JJ said the same thing. The prequels got so much heat until the sequel trilogy, the Disney. But here's the question, and I think I know the answer to this. The prequel trilogy stood the test of time because of the essence of what was behind there. Not necessarily the clunky dialogue or the storytelling. It's just like the essence of the story. Is the sequel trilogy going to get that too? Because I've said this before. I have my heel Star Wars shirt when I wear The Last Jedi, which a lot of people say is the worst of the bunch, which, it's Rise of Skywalker. But there's a lot of good elements in The Last Jedi, like strong elements that feel like George Lucas approved elements. And there's a lot of stuff that in there that is not approved. But to me, is the sequel trilogy going to have that same benefit that the prequels got?
No.
No.
The sequel trilogy sucks because Last Jedi is so bad. Now, had it actually answered and been a proper follow-up, not Last Jedi, what did I say? Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker is so terrible that it blew the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Like they stuck the land. Like if this was like a gymnastics type of thing, this is like when somebody's knee goes backwards, right? They blew it so bad that it ruined everything. It would have been fine had that one had been so awful.
Yeah, stuck the landing a
They
little more.
overcorrected so hard from Last Jedi, which they really didn't need to.
No.
Like, it got a lot of heat, but I mean, it's Star Wars. It's like the most argumentative thing on the internet.
Yeah.
It's why the internet was invented, so people could argue about Star Wars. But like, I think that those movies are just gonna like go away.
They're just gonna.
I gotta
fade.
be honest. Yeah.
Strong characters in it, but yeah, I mean, I think the casting was never the problem in that. But you're absolutely right. I mean, it definitely. A lot of people feel that about Game of Thrones, right? They didn't stick the landing, and it almost undid like 6 seasons of goodwill on 3 bad episodes. Because even the last season, the first 3 episodes weren't bad. It was the last couple of episodes they didn't stick the landing, and it undid all the other stories. Like, you feel like, oh my God, I wasted my time, you know?
Yeah.
So I think you're right. And you're right. They didn't he leaned too much on thinking that, you know, and I don't know who made this decision, so I can't say he, because I just said he thinking J.J. Abrams, but they really were like, oh, don't worry, we'll just go with the nostalgia. The nostalgia will always work, and the Emperor will come back, because everybody loves the Emperor, right? And it's just like, no, dude, you just basically, if for people who believe in canon, you just undid what the Chosen One was chosen to do. And it was always argued of who was the Chosen One, but it didn't matter at that point if it was Luke or it was Anakin. The Chosen One was going to bring balance by taking, well, again, some people say it was for taking out Palpatine, and you just undid that. You undid his sacrifice.
Yeah, it was
Thinking that nostalgia would make people happy.
It was so bad that it destroyed the other 2 films. I think the other 2 films were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine. Not mind-blowing, but had they had a proper finish, it would have been a memorable trilogy that people would have liked to watch. And now everyone hates it.
Yeah. No, you're right. I agree. They could have kept that charm of just like, well, you know, it kind of did some stuff different. But I don't know. But then everybody loves Solo now. Like, Solo is getting the Star Wars story that was kind of butchered a little bit, and they had the 2 directors, the Phil Lord, and I think they ended up doing Into the Spider-Verse. But I remember Ron Howard took over, and then it didn't do well in the box office, even though it was clearly profitable, and it did fine. But now I feel like it's getting a second lease on life, and ironically enough, the biggest chatter that we're hearing for Book of Boba Fett is to get Kira back, you know, who turned out to be the main villain in Solo. And it's like, oh, okay, so it's enough that I feel like they can pull these elements that worked, similar to like what Marvel's doing with the Netflix shows. Like, look, whether you liked them or didn't like them, you clearly liked some of these characters and the actors playing them. Let's pull them over and do that. And I'd like to see that with Kira. And I would argue that there's other characters in the sequel trilogy that they could do that with, that they can possibly retrocon it and repair some of the characters. Now, they cannot repair the story. The only way they're going to repair the story is to go full on nerd and get into Star Wars Rebels, the animated, where they had this thing called the World Between Worlds, and that's basically the Star Wars equivalent of time travel, and then you could create a separate timeline, and then you're getting into multiverse, and then you're going to have to really nerd it up, which it can be done, but I think time has to heal the wounds before they do that. Just keep making these series. Bring us Obi-Wan. Everybody wants to see Obi-Wan. More Ahsoka. Yes, bring her that. More Mandalorian. More Boba Fett. Bring us that before you try to repair that trilogy.
I don't think that's going to work. I think right now where Star Wars is going, it's retro. It's a retro steampunk, diesel punk kind of Western samurai in space thing.
Yeah.
Nobody's got a phone.
No phones.
That makes everything weird, right? Yeah. So, like, nobody's got a phone. There's no Google. So it's like things are going, you know, there's nobody. They don't even really have computers. Like, they have nothing. So it's retro. It's a retro Western type of thing. And if you start putting time travel, I think it's going to just confuse the tone. I don't know. I don't see that coming in. I do like Ahsoka. I think she brings magic. Okay, magic. We could maybe fit that in a little bit. That's cool. But like,
You think it worked just because in the animated version it worked, but it might not work in live action as much.
not in this world that they're creating. You know what I
Right.
mean? I feel like this is a very grounded world. Everything is very rudimentary.
Yeah. And you're right. I mean, yeah, JJ said Star Wars, MCU, into the multiverse. I think you're right, because what always was tough, and obviously it wasn't part of the plan. I mean, he made episode 4, 5, and 6 when the technology wasn't there. Then the technology was better between 99 and 2004 for episodes 1, 2, and 3, which made the time period that came before in the storyline made everything look actually more technologically advanced than the other one. So it almost had to be when the Emperor took over and the Empire took over that actually technology decreased and devolved. And like you said, now their computers look like Pong screens, and now they're running with the plans to the Death Star, even though they're flying it, but it looks like it's on a floppy disk. Where before, R2 was able to just transmit it. So you're right. You're right. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
That it's got to stay a little bit like retro looking, but they haven't done anything yet that made me not give up. But you know who said this and kind of predicted it, that this was going to happen?
Who?
Quentin Tarantino.
What did he say?
He predicted that this was going to happen. Like, remember, it was a big deal, right? What year was that? Was that 2012 when they bought LucasArts? When Disney first bought it?
Sounds right. I'm not sure.
Around that age, and everybody was excited, except Quentin Tarantino. He's like, I don't give a shit. He goes, I don't want to see Disney Star Wars. I want to see George Lucas Star Wars. Disney's not going to know what to do with that.
Yeah.
He kind of called. I was just like, he kind of called it, because Kathleen Kennedy, you would have thought she would have, like, she was under the learning tree and that she would have brought a lot of that stuff over. But it's hiring these powerful filmmakers and these other creators that are actually fans, that are actually what's pushing it forward, not just the Imagineers at Disney. You're having to hire people that are fans. Like,
well, we got Jon Favreau's Star Wars now instead of Kathleen Kennedy's Star Wars.
Yeah, and I'll take that 10 times out of 10. Because we don't know what she actually did help with, and I'll even take, Robert Rodriguez, Mean Motor Scooters, with the shiny. I'll even take that over, because again, I'm not there for the wars. I'm there for the force. I'm there for I want to feel how that equates to what we're going through in real life, and measuring, it binds us, it penetrates us. And I know people kind of freaked out with the metachlorians. But would that have been better when episode, 7, 8, and 9, the George Lucas treatment, he said he was going to get microbial, and he was going to get into like the metachlorians and inside your body and how that worked. He was going to go in a completely different direction. I think it would have worked.
Yeah, I think it would have been fine. I just think George Lucas, I think things would have been a lot different. He should have not directed. That's the thing.
Yeah, that
he should have not directed. He should have hired directors to do it for him and explain to him what he wants and let them kind of do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's where he kind of went wrong.
I think
he's a creative producer. I mean, he's of course a very talented director, but his like interests, if you look at his early career, is in abstract, artsy fartsy kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the kind of director that he wanted to be. And I think even though he's like talented, that's why he pulled off Star Wars. Should have got other guys to do the rest of them.
Right. And that's what he did with Empire, right? And Return of the Jedi, which originally was going to be Steven Spielberg.
David Lynch for a while, I think.
Yeah, so that was his plan, and then he's like, "Well, why don't you just do it yourself?" So, and that just gave us some clunky dialogue, and it gave some boxy performances and stuff. But again, the essence was so strong that it's able to stand the test of time like it has, that and create this monster that we're still 100. How many films like this really do stand, creating a universe like this?
Star Wars is like the only American, like fully American made like intellectual property.
right? I feel like that was just born out of a film. Like even MCU, they were born out of multiple
film IP.
multiple comic books and stuff, but just straight up coming from here's a film, and then everything came after that, and it dovetailed perfectly into merchandising and comic books and everything it can do. But anyway, we'll keep going on Book of Boba Fett. Keep going and see where it goes. I highly suggest watching it at 2 a.m. and find yourself a good watch along and strap in for the ride.
It is fun.
The only parts that I do have issues is when the show itself is actually running and you got the timer, and then like you're watching the show. So I guess this is kind of like parallel play in the sandbox, right? I'm not supposed to look over at their reactions, or are you? Like, are you supposed to react when Star Wars Theory, when you look to him, it's just like, oh, what does he think of that? Oh, what does he think of that? Looking at his faces. Because I do notice when I skip through, because I do want to hear what he has to say. I think he's an important voice.
Yeah.
I know he's gotten a lot of heat, but he is an important voice because he's one of us. That's where he started. He's just a fan. And I want to hear what he has to say, and he's very protective of the brand. So I always fast forward, but like it's always awkward to like on watching the show, and especially with him, he's not the YouTuber that is reactionary that you're gonna get the shots of like his face. Usually he's just like studying it.
Yeah,
it's like okay, where everyone else is like ooh ah ooh.
yeah. No, I see what you mean. I mean, I enjoy the watch alongs. If I'm up at 2 a.m., which I generally am, and I'll throw one on. But I will just have the volume up on the watch along, and I'll be trying to watch the show.
Oh, got it.
So
okay.
I can hear them react.
Yeah, I tend to watch the show, then I go through the watch along, and then I fast forward to the part where everyone starts talking.
What a weird future, dystopian future we live in.
That you're watching along with all these people and not really any of them.
And you're not even doing it in real time. You're doing it after the fact.
Yeah.
It's not even live anymore.
It is very strange. So, speaking of, I guess we're on the nostalgia kick. Do you want to have a beer and then start talking about Scream?
Yeah. Let's do.
You want to do a little something we like to call Weird Beer Wednesday? Yeah, it's that time. I'll go get one. We'll go get it.
All right, have at it. Intern music on. This is so much louder than it used to be. Which one are you grabbing? Just look under. They're filed under W. Either one is good. I'm still just thinking we need a more efficient way of doing this.
Maybe we need the sound effects of one time of me falling down the stairs. Whoa!
No, eventually we'll do one of those cutaway pre-tape things.
All right, cheers. So I thought in honor of, we were talking about Star Wars and George Lucas, and we know he was very influenced not only by The Hero's Journey by Thomas Campbell, but he was very influenced by Kurosawa, makes mad films. So I did see some Asian handwriting, and I was like, oh, okay, let's go with this one.
Okay, so let me just say, these weird beers are from a sponsor, my cousin, Primo.
That's legit. That's a shoot too.
Yeah, my cousin Primo. So he's a legit beer enthusiast. And he gets beers from all over the country and here in town. Anytime there's kind of special releases, he gets them. He trades with people on the internet. He'll trade beers with other people. They'll meet up and swap for stuff. Like, So he's got like at his house, he's got like 500 beers.
That's awesome. I've heard of people having like those beer meetups, and they do it like in football stadiums.
It's like trading tapes, man. People just bring their beers and they swap them for because people get things because not only a microbrew is so popular, there's breweries all over the country. There's special releases, so he actually, he gets stuff from all over the country. So this one, I think I can see which one it is. I think it is a local one, but this is a special release that was probably not widely available, and you cannot get in stores, folks. Don't try to buy this beer; it doesn't exist.
Do not even try. I just went with the. I was thinking Kurosawa, and then I saw Nomura, and it's actually an Imperial Jellyfish hazy double India Pale Ale from Pine House, brewed and canned. But it's a local, but you are not getting it in stores.
This is a Pine House special edition.
Okay, and it's a 9.
Pine House Pizza, by the way.
Oh, Pine House Pizza. Yeah,
Pine House Pizza.
Good joint.
They have a brewery now.
Nice, yeah, and they got good brew pizza. Because it's not like I'm not gonna say, I'll put this pizza up next to Brooklyn Pie. No, but it's like I'll put it up against any other like pub pizza. I call it like pub pizza, where it's like
okay.
It's like not a triangle, it's not a square, but like you're drinking strong beer, so it tastes better anyway. But anyway, it's packing 9.5. It's a big gun.
That's a big one.
Yeah, like you want the close up there. Check that out.
Nomura Imperial Jellyfish. So that's one of their popular ones is the Imperial Jellyfish. So this one will put some hair on your chest. Kids.
Yeah, is it gonna sting me?
Are you sick of your hairless chest? Try Nomura. Well, don't try it because you can't get it anywhere.
Yeah, you can't. But look at that.
Someone's going to Google this and be like, I can get this somewhere. Look, it says limited release. It's not. Anyway.
Yeah, it looks good. All right, so let's pop this. Let's pop this puppy jellyfish and see if it stings. Okay, got the sting. You want to do it on the close up? Get the side. Good color. Oh, man, I can smell the hops from here.
Oh, you're not a hop guy.
Hoppity hop.
Nice color on there.
Yeah. Let's see, Senor Pancho. I'll give him a little side angle there. Top that. Put that for our collection. But yeah, check it out. Good head. Good pour. Look at even Senor Pancho's like, check it out. That's from his cousin Primo.
My cousin Primo. And he's got pretty much the next 4 weird beers
are all coming.
Are all sponsored by Cousin Primo.
Yeah, Cousin Primo.
I've invited him on the show. I don't know if he ever wants to come on, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah, we'll check it out. All right, I'll bring this over to you. Stand by. Intern mode.
Gracias. I need to queue up more music on here. Does it?
Yeah, it smells good. I mean, I smell the hops.
Oof. Oh, dude, this is hoppy.
Yeah.
You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it at all.
Here's the thing. I love the smell of it, like the brewery, and I love the smell of the hops. It's just that the very, very bitter aftertaste. But let's see. Let's give it. Let's do it. Ready? Cheers. Salud.
Salud.
Thank you, Primo. Here you go, JJ. Solid pizza, solid brew.
Hoppa!
Oh, ooh, man. But it's something different. Like, they're not... They took the bite out of the hop.
Yeah, I mean...
It doesn't have that after hop.
It tastes like the jellyfish, but this is like a strong... Have you ever had the Pine House jellyfish?
No.
Oh, look, we got the pizza in the background. I just thought of that. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, it tastes like the Pine House electric jellyfish, but it's...
I never had the electric jellyfish.
It's got a more robust flavor.
I like it, but I do want pizza now.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I'm getting some citrus. Is there citrus?
Let's see. Put that can on the close, and we'll see. Can we read that? Let's see. Hold it there. Other way we got brewed and canned by Pine House, Texas. Pine House Brewing.
I want the knife. Movie trivia. I want the knife.
Golden Child.
Yes.
What about the front? Let's see the front again. Yeah. Jellyfish, hazy. Deepa. What's a Deepa?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, DIPA? Oh, double IPA.
Double.
Did you know a Deepa was a thing?
No, I did not know. I've heard of FUPA and I've heard of double secret probation, but I've not heard of Deepa. I'm a fan of Dua Lipa, not a fan of FUPA. I live with... I don't know what I'm talking about. It's the hops talking.
Do you have, bartender, do you have any Deepa? What's your best Deepa?
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I do though. I would, for being an IPA and a double IPA, the hops do not have the after bitterness that most IPAs have. And I can't tell, like usually it feels like, oh, that's great, but now I feel like I ate an orange peel. Where this, I'm tasting the citrus, but I'm not getting that burn of like after you eat an orange peel. And yes, we've all eaten orange peels, right? Look, it's an apple. And why did you do that? But
they look very similar.
But you know, that's apples and oranges.
I tell you what, one of these cans will you'll be feeling great after you drink this whole can.
Oh my God, yeah.
Mora.
Yeah, no mora. You would have no mora of whatever you're thinking about because you would be thinking of other things. But yeah, thumbs up. Thank you, Cousin Primo. Maybe we should release a 6-pack Cousin Primo edition of weird beers and brand it.
Yeah. He gave me some other weird ones. You haven't even seen some of the ones. There's some that you don't even put in the fridge.
Oh, well, really?
They don't go in the fridge. I don't know how beers work, but
these don't go in the fridge. Yeah, we have to find out what the deal is with Dua Lipa, Double Deepa, Poopa, Double Deep Pizza.
Deepa.
All right. So let's
what was the other thing we were going to talk about?
We were going to talk about Scream.
Oh, Scream is
coming out tomorrow. We're a fan of the franchise. The last one came out, if you're not counting the MTV series, I think was 2011. We're doing a podcast that we're going to be dropping that's going to be a little bit more of a long form of what we're going to do. We're going to go over each entry. We're going to be doing that with our friend from Cork, Ireland, Brendan. He's going to be calling in. But are you excited for Scream?
I'm somewhat. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm marking out for it. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hearing good things. That's making me interested, you know?
Yeah.
I was rewatching the original Scream. Great. Classic. Feels very 90s. And then I was watching some of 4, and it didn't really grab me. It just wasn't getting me. I don't know. I'm not sure why. So I hear this is a clean reboot? Sequel boot?
Okay, so are they jumping? Or I didn't hear anything about it. I've been avoiding spoilers.
Well, it's not spoiler. It's
so I didn't know if they.
I'm just saying in the sense.
Are they going to do the Halloween or the Chainsaw Massacre? Or are they just jumping from one to the next? Or
no, they all exist.
Oh, they do all exist.
This is just from the title. This is just Scream. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of. I heard a new term the other day, and it's not a reboot. It's not a sequel boot. It's a requel.
What the hell is that? A requel?
A requel.
Is that Scooby-Doo requesting a requel?
Well, I mean, instead, it's not a reboot. It's not a sequel. It's a requel.
Oh,
it's a new thing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna give it a shot. I mean,
are you excited? You're very excited about it.
Yeah. I mean, I love going into horror movies. Here's the thing that's a little bit different. Why is just like I would be more psyched for, you know, the Halloweens or the Jasons and, you know, Freddy's, because it's the same character. This is Ghostface, but it becomes, ironically, Scooby-Doo talking about requels. It becomes more of a murder mystery, and it feels a lot more grounded. There's not, even though there's a lot of things that would be considered a stretch, there's nothing that's technically supernatural with where all the other ones have a sinister supernatural feel to it. Scream doesn't have that, and I don't know if that's ironic that Matthew Lillard, who was, you know, from the first one, went on to become Shaggy and all about the murder mysteries. But I noticed one big thing that I noticed is there's a lot of backstabbing, and I don't literally mean twists and turns. Ghostface stabs people in the back
often, yeah,
a lot. Like when they're running, or it's very like, I don't know, it feels a little bit more grounded in the sense that there's nothing spectacular about their kills. It's just like they almost feel like, oops, I stabbed you in the gut. That one might be fatal. I don't know. It just feels, and the knife is a little bit smaller, but the first one was just such a breath of fresh air for the genre, just because it was something different, that it had a high bar, and I think they progressively got worse.
Well, it figured out a way to deal with the fact that slasher films had become so repetitive, right?
Right.
Because when Friday the 13th came out, even before that Halloween, there was hundreds of clones. Every holiday has a slasher movie attached to it. I guarantee it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there was just so many, and they'd been overdone. At this point, we had seen Jason X. We had seen Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah. But it got very more supernatural.
Everything was just those sort of genres had died out. So what this movie did was came in and said, all these things exist as movies in this universe, right? It just invented this whole other way of thinking, right? Which Kevin Williamson was like kind of known for. I don't know. Did you ever watch Dawson's Creek?
Yeah. I don't want to wait for my love to be over.
So if you were a movie fan, it was fun to watch because they always had movie references, right? And he was always talking about directors and things like that.
Yep.
So then this movie kind of did that, where it took all these movies that everybody's seen and sort of takes the piss out of them the whole time. While at the same time having these really brutal horror elements in it, really scary stuff.
Right.
And I mean, he does have like the stabs in the back. There's like some weak stabs where he's like stabbing like an apple or something. He's just like,
yeah, exactly. It comes off as very, that's what I was saying. It's not as methodical. It's very just like reactionary and just like, oh, I'm going to try to do this. And I might hit you and I might not. And because there's a lot of people that got stabbed and didn't die, and then all of a sudden they're walking around with a sling, after getting stabbed in the spine. But then some of them did die.
Podcat is in the house.
Oh, it's on the, oh yeah. Oh, wrong side. No. She's fucking pod pizza.
Anyway, but yeah, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying it always came off as like these blows were very, I guess, guttural in a way that it was just like, like a real fight. Like a real fight doesn't look fancy. It doesn't look pretty. It's just like...
And they're scrappy and Ghostface is always like tripping over shit.
Yeah, he's always like... Yeah, because I saw there was one of the breakthroughs of like it basically became like they were setting booby traps for him like Scooby-Doo. You can see Ghostface on Scooby-Doo. It felt like it was like he kind of ran weird and then he fell down the stairs and he was very just like all arms, like a prepubescent kid that just all of a sudden went from 5'8" to 6'7" overnight. He's like, I don't know what to do with my arms.
But you see, I think that all in the first one, that was like very intentional, right? Yeah. Because the two killers, it was spoilers if you haven't seen the first Scream. It's Billy and Stu. Is that his name? Stu? Matthew Lillard? Right? Yeah. So just think of their two characters. Stu was the one flopping around and slipping everywhere, where Billy was the more methodical one. Like the way they kill, you can see a difference in the ghost faces.
Yeah,
that's two of them.
That's true. Yeah, and that was the twist, right? That there was a double killer.
Well, it's always two killers, except for three.
Yeah, three. Well, yeah, because that was just the brother, right? Because that was her long lost brother from the affair. Because it really, especially the trilogy, and they really could have kept it as a trilogy. It really was keep it in the family, right? And then 2, they went to it was Billy's mom that was kind of the mastermind of this, so they were keeping it in the family. 4 was the only one that was, what's her name? Is it Emma Roberts, right? Where she was just kind of doing it for the fame.
It was Hayden Picanette or whatever.
Oh yeah, she was going to be she was chosen to pass the torch.
Yeah, she was going to be the new Sydney, or
right? The new Sydney
Scream person,
because she saved the cheerleader, saved the world.
But the thing is that Scream is. I like Scream. I think Scream is genius. Scream 2 is fine. The rest I don't need. 3 and 4 I just don't need. Like,
we didn't.
I'm good. I'm good without them. Like I don't. Like if I'm gonna watch Scream, I'm only going up to part 2. I'm just not gonna watch 3 and 4.
Yeah.
You know? I
No,
don't know.
and I really don't think you, in a way, you don't need to. So that's why I am curious of just like now that it's a requel. Shaggy, you're gonna go see the requel? But I am curious just to see again, and I am one of the people that is a sucker for the nostalgia, and it's been long enough. I didn't watch the series, but from what I read, the series had nothing to do with it and no tie-ins, and it was almost like that was a true reboot that was just like coming up with a retelling of the same story. So that one we didn't really have it. They were just really resting on the IP. So, but I think it is really, and I think Scream, because we're into the sequel boot series here, I think it is really important that you do keep the nostalgia to pass that torch. The series didn't have that. The series, like, this is something completely new for a new generation.
I'm pretty sure it was even a different mask on the series.
It may have been, right? It may have been a little, they just called him Ghostface, but it may have been a little bit different. So
The sense I get from the trailers that I've seen of Scream so far, this is not spoiler stuff, this is just from the trailers. To me, it feels like they're not, whereas Scream was sort of deconstructing horror movies, this one is deconstructing Scream.
right.
So it's talking about, as the first one was talking about the tropes of like Friday the 13th, this is talking about the tropes of Scream that are already pretty well established. They're like, it's always two killers, it's always someone you know. So I think they're going meta in a way that no one's ever done before. You know, I'm interested. I do want to see it. I'm into it. I just, I'm a little jaded on slashers. I don't think I've seen a good American one like that in a while. So I don't know.
Yeah. Have you ever gotten Scream 2 mixed up with Scary Movie? I have.
Yeah, well, I mean, Scream was originally titled Scary Movie, right? You know that?
Yeah. Oh, no, I did not know that.
That was the original title.
That
Was
was the
Scary
Scary
Movie, and then when
Movie.
they made
Wow.
the spoof, they stole the title.
That they actually called it Scary Movie. Yeah, those, for some reason, I do get those kind of mixed up. And those, I don't know, I haven't watched those in a while to see if they stood the test of time. At least the first one, because I feel like I remember everybody really enjoying the first Scary Movie, which is kind of like a play against Scream.
I can't imagine, because those are so tied to like pop culture of the time.
Yeah.
It's they're referencing like commercials on TV. It's like,
Oh, yeah,
you
what's
watch like
up?
Scary Movie and it's like, and twins. They do the Budweiser commercial.
Oh yeah,
you know?
what's up? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. That wouldn't stand the test of time. But I am
Here's a
curious.
piece of trivia. My mom went to a garage sale and found a Scream mask, and she texted me a picture, and it was the Scream mask, but it was not the Scream mask. It was the Scary Movie mask, where it's like stoned.
Oh yeah.
And I said, she was like, "Look, I got the mask from Scream." I was like, "No, that's the Scream from Scary Movie." She's like, "Really? That's a different one." And she put it on. She got it for $1 or something at a garage sale, and she posted it on eBay and made $50.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Trivia. Anyway, but yeah, so I don't know that those spoof Scream movies would hold up. I don't think they hold. I think if you were of age in that time and you get the references, it probably holds
Yeah.
up. But I can't imagine like what do they call the young people now? Like tweeners?
Yeah, I don't even know.
Anyway, they watch Scary Movie. It'd be like, this is the most vulgar, it's awful. It makes fun of it's not PC in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It's over the top.
Yeah, no, I can I can totally see that. Yeah, because it was pretty brutal. I mean, the first Scream had definitely some brutality that surprised me. I think
In Scream, Dewey was kind of like, awkward and shy, and in Scary Movie, he's retarded.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. And then they played that up because they had that in-universe film called Stab, which is a play on Scream. And then he got, that was his heat that he had with Gale Weathers in the second one. It's just like, you called me Barney Fife. And it's like, do people really even know who Barney Fife is now?
Exactly.
Yeah, so I guess that would be a little bit different. It did. The big thing that got, I think, a lot of people with Scream is they basically came right out and punched you in the mouth. Very similar to Alfred Hitchcock killing Janet Leigh so quick in the movie that when you saw Drew Barrymore on the box on the poster, that you're like, she's in this, and she gets whacked instantly and brutally. I think that was a stroke of genius on Wes Craven's part to say that These rules are going to be different.
It works to effect because, like in Psycho, the most famous person in the movie is killed immediately.
Yeah.
Right? So, and there's the thing. If you watch, here's one thing I noticed about. Well, I was watching like recaps and all kinds of stuff. There's some cool shit going on in stream. Wes Craven's really brilliant filmmaker. Like he was a genius. If you watch Scream, the opening shot is of the swing outside the house. Right? That's the opening shot. It's the swing hanging in front of the house. It's a pan down. And then the closing shot is Drew Barrymore hanging from the swing by her throat.
Oh, no, I did not notice that.
Yeah, so it's just like a big closes the loop on that.
Wow. No, I did not have to go back and watch that. But yeah, I'm like you. I can totally see myself going back and really taking in the first one again because you were so moved by it. And then the second one, possibly. But then, yeah, as progressively, I did notice that it very much, if you want to know who was famous the years those movies came out, watch a Scream movie. Because you're like, oh my God, they got Putty from Seinfeld. And it's like, oh, save the cheerleader, save the world. Or there's Emma Roberts. I mean, they were picking, and then Jada Pinkett Smith, they were picking everybody the new.
Yeah, it's like a time capsule.
It really is like a time capsule.
And that's the thing with Scream is like, that was the first time someone took slasher movies and they put recognizable people in those roles. Everything before that, there was always unknowns that were going to get killed. So they took instead a bunch of like TV actors that were fairly known and then killed them off, which added a whole other level of intensity to the kills, right?
Yeah.
And Drew Barrymore being the first one who's like super famous.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you basically watch, Gertie from E.T. get gutted. Gertie gets gutted. And I mean, it was very telling for that choice because I know she went through her troubles that we kind of experienced in real life, but that was kind of like she was coming back in somewhat of a resurgence, right? But before that, she was making the Skinamax, the Poison Ivies and stuff like that. But she was becoming like, hey, remember this?
What are you going to do? It's work.
Yeah. But I enjoyed Poison Ivy, but it's Gertie, at that point, she played that role so well that she came off as like somebody that just like, oh, this is just a cool chick. There's no way that they're going to do something bad to her. They're only going to do bad. She didn't come off as what other people would think is disposable.
And you got to understand, at that point, she's like, E.T. was still like the biggest movie of all time.
Yeah.
Right? Like it was still the biggest movie of all time. It was the number one movie of all time, and it's Drew Barrymore from that movie. So it was even more profound than you can like, kind of like comes across with the time has passed since.
No, exactly, man. And they had, Neve Campbell. I don't know if that was before or after they had Party of Five. Then they had Girl from Friends. And
that was while she was on Party of Five.
That was while.
And that was also while Courtney Cox was on Friends.
Yeah. So these were all very recognizable from very popular shows. And even David Arquette, I mean, he went through a period, right, where he was going to be like the new hotness for a little while, right?
Former WCW champion,
former
David Arquette.
It is strange, but that technically is his title, isn't it?
Yep.
But yeah, I'm really curious. I really do hope they bring it, and I'm glad they got the 3 back. I don't like the throwaways of just like, oh, they can't bring everybody back.
I think they picked the right people to do it as far as people working in the industry today. Radio Silence, they did like some horror shorts, and then they did that Ready or Not movie, which I dug in a lot of ways. Some things I didn't like, but it just felt like they were the ones to do it. It was time to do it with them, Wes Craven gone. But yeah, I want to see it. I want it. I just don't want to be let down. That's my thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been hurt before. We've been hurt before. We're going to go in the theater and be hurt before. But yeah, because we have that. And then next month we have our friend David Blue. We get to see what he does with his sequel boot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So it's somewhat of a horror resurgence going on here after coming off Halloween. And now we got Scream. And now we got... Are we ever going to get a Friday the 13th? Is that ever going to...
Yeah, as long people like money, and eventually they'll sort it out. I heard the case just got settled. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we're a little bit closer.
Did we have? I'm sure. Surely we've had this discussion. But we say, how would you book Friday the 13th?
I think we did. Did we talk about this before? We could talk about it now. If we didn't, just in case, it's okay that we do a repeat. How would you book it?
I think you have to do it in the 80s. You have to set it in the 80s.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of phones. You have to get rid of Google. You can't do it with those things existing. You know? I just don't think so.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense.
You take it back to the 80s, you do like a shoot horror movie. Either that, or you do it in a style where you can make it seem like the 80s. I don't know, like, did you ever see It Follows?
Oh, yeah. I liked it.
You see how that film, you kind of don't know what time it is?
You know what I mean? You brought that up before, and I feel like you somehow need to find a way to, like, trademark that or something, that there needs to be a way that you don't know what time period that the film is taking place, and it feels believable. That people aren't just saying, just call your phone, just whip out. Like, somehow, you're right. There was another pretty cool horror movie on Amazon. I can't think of the name of it. Maybe I'll put it in the description if I remember. It was on Prime. And it was like that, and you just couldn't figure out what time period it was. And you didn't even know what the monster was. And it was just like they were picking up over the airwaves on some like shortwave radio. And I think it just comes down to that you got to get guttural, you have to get primal, you have to get... It's really hard to have that type of slasher movie in a very populated area, in a very well-lit area. So you do need to... Technology somehow needs to be removed. Now, don't get me wrong, there is room for horror movies in a very crowded area. That also feels 80, but that feels 80s like something that you'd see Donald Sutherland in, and it's the killer is slinking through a crowded club and stuff, but it's not the same as like a slasher. That's more of like a serial killer murder mystery.
And here's another thing. You have to book it this way as well. You have to make this movie in secret.
Oh, yeah.
No one can ever know this movie exists until the day they walk into the theater and they see a trailer for Friday the 13th, part whatever.
Did somebody do that with the movie, that it was supposed to be a surprise and you didn't realize that...
They did it with Blair Witch.
That they were going to do that, right? That you didn't know it was going to be Blair Witch movie or...
Well, they made it in secret and it came out relatively quickly after they announced it, but nothing ever got out on it.
I love the idea of somehow making a sequel, giving it a different title, making it an interesting movie, and then halfway through the movie, you realize it's a sequel. And I think the only one that's really done that was M. Night Shyamalan, right?
Yeah, in the post-credit thing.
Yeah. But that was like, at the very, very end, you realize, and that was more like you realized that it was in the same universe. But is there a way to do it where just like halfway through the movie, you just realize like, wait a minute, they're at a camp? Or like, wait a minute, like, oh, this reminds me of it, but you never confirm it. And then halfway through it, it somehow comes out that it's that. And you just give it a completely different title. I think you just came up with a new genre. Secret sequel. Secret sequel. Disney, don't call us, because this is not a movie for you. Other studios call us secret sequels.
Sequitwals.
Secret.
That's a thing. That could be a thing.
That could totally be a thing. I would love to see a sequel. All right, I'm getting hungry.
All right, yeah, I hear
that's good soup. But I think I need some pizza or burgers. That was good beer. Let me give one last plug.
Put it on the close up there.
No Mora, and I take that as like, yes, Mora, please. So thank you, Cousin Primo. This is actually, I'm gonna say it, best IPA I ever had, and maybe it's because the D in DIPA stands for damn. I don't know what to say. I just was looking at podcast. She looked at me like, why did you just do that? But yeah, so that was fun. So we'll see you again next week.
Next Wednesday. Oh.
Yeah, we're back next Wednesday. We got some drops coming. We did MSG Memories for some wrestling at Madison Square Garden with our friend Andrew Washington from Strong Island. And then we'll also have the Scream extended version with our friend Brendan Hayes from Cork, Ireland. And then we're going to we're gonna have to book some. We're gonna have to book some Valentine's Day stuff. St. Valentine's Day Massacre, My Bloody Valentine, and then we're working on some stuff that we can hopefully work with the Cult Classic Convention.
Boom.
Coming to Bastrop, Texas, at the end of February. We're gonna have some Weird Science reunions, Maximum Overdrive, photo ops, Poltergeist,
Joe Bob Briggs, Darcy the Mail Girl.
Yeah, it's gonna be baller.
Felicia Rose.
Yes, they're all gonna be there, and we're gonna be there too. So yeah, that's it. So peace out. Enjoy 1/12/2022, and don't worry, it's not 2020 as well.